Hello, this is a translation of a speech by Bruno Gröning that he gave on October the 20th in 1950 in Kreiling near München. My dear health seekers, I am happy to be able to talk to you today. I can confirm what the former speaker said, that I have a ban against healing. However, that is not really so, because up until now I have not, I don't know how to express it, been healing. I have only talked about healing and how sick people should relate to it. Then I also must show you the way. I can't help it. That is how I'm tuned in. I have to help every person who is in emergency or danger or is attacked by illness. Meaning, I show you the way to how you can receive the so-called healing wave. I did not have had to come here. I have already been informed that among you here are strong reactions. I could tell you about all the healings I hear about every day, about how and in what way sick people have gotten their health back. I do not wonder why, because it is not new to me. However, it is not quite understandable to human beings. Therefore, I will do all I can to explain it to them, show them the way, show them what they need to be aware of. I do not need to touch anyone. I have never so far done that, never treated any sick person in any way. I will explain by an example. If I, 30 years ago, had told someone that there is a radio apparatus where you can listen to a person talk, no matter where he is, Berlin or another town in Germany or abroad, that one could hear that person from a radio receiver, they would have told me that I was crazy. Back then, the radio was unknown to all people. Today, it has become a matter of course for everyone. Today, there is no doubt about how it works with sender and receiver. You just have to know how to operate such a device. All the things that man has created have an instruction manual. So also for my device. Many people have not understood their manual, and therefore they went to the specialist, who gave them the explanation on how to operate the device. From then on, the man understood how to do it, so that he had a clear reception, and he also knew how to tune in on other senders' stations. I'm sure you know that not only receivers are built so small, also senders. And you know for sure also that they may have made the connection so strong that there is a risk that you disturb your neighbors. This can also happen today, but now the receivers are more built in. It is not different here. If you imagine that you were the receiver, it does not mean that I would call you an apparatus, but you are the receiver. I know that you have visited the health practitioner Günsel, and I'm glad you have trusted him and that you hope to get all that you have wished for years, that he will make you healthy. But man's radiation, even if it is only his thoughts, are transferred to weaker persons. Therefore, the healthier human being can influence the weaker human being, and by this disturb him and the development of his healing. Mr. Günsel has not told you much, and you already do it alone. As common as the radio is for human beings, so will also the healing method become. I understand very well that some people still have doubt about this because they know so little about it. Today I have spoken with a doctor, and it is very interesting and pleasing to hear how interested such a person is. By that I do not want to say it is the first time I have spoken to someone from traditional health care, but also not the last one. It is important to talk to people about what I do, because I am the first human being here, and to me the most important thing to know is that people are well. For the most part, people who see this as a calling, they say, the sick come first, then my family. And yes, it is right, they go for it 100%. They try to bring health to people. I have up to this day never said a bad word about the doctors. On the contrary, in Hereford, I said to the health seekers that they should not talk bad about the doctors. Up until now they have been good, so they must not talk bad about them. I have repeatedly said, also in Heidelberg, people must trust their doctors. I know how it is. At first he was good, and when he turned his back, he was pulled through dirt, when a doctor with his means was unable to heal. It is wrong, my dear sick, to bother yourselves over that. Instead of getting better, it's getting worse. And therefore I do not let anything be untried, and say to all health seekers that they should remain calm. I do not like hatred. I do not like envy, quarreling. I do not like controversy. I say as before, love your neighbor more than yourself. He who is exalted will be humiliated. I have never thought that I should be one of the most exalted persons, no. I am and remain the little Gröning. I ask you to always choose the good way. Man talks about peace and quiet, but is frequently so full of hate that he is a disturber of peace. Therefore he does not build anything good inside him, only bad. None of them wants war, and they call out about the peace. Then, when war suddenly is there, it is unavoidable, because people do not understand each other. Man is self-righteous and thinks he must assert himself. He is mean and envious, and does not want others to have anything. Just as it was here with those here who said to those who were healed, "But you are not healed." The worst thing about this is that if someone continues doing this to another, the other falls back into another spiritual suffering. It never ends. Instead of helping this person to be able to earn his own bread, another who does not wish him to be well only continues to talk him away from healing, telling him, "That's bullshit, that there is nothing like that, it has never happened." Then the healing easily falls from them. Therefore I ask you to do not do that. I am so glad when people come to me and thank me from their heart for having been healed. It makes me content and happy. Or when you hear, the man was suffering and bothered and suddenly he is well. Lately there have been many cases known where people who have carried the heaviest sufferings are today totally healthy. I will mention one case. His name just came to my head. Irman Landshut, the owner of the Borg Cinema. He had 16 pelvic fractures. He had been looking for me for half a year, but had never had the luck to reach me. He was in terrible pain and could hardly move with his 2 sticks. I met him and asked him to take a place. I only reached out and took his hand and said to him to notice what happened in his body. I also asked him if he had been born with those sticks. No, he said, but I give them to you, and I do not ask for conditions. I told the woman sitting next to him, she is a lady of great trust, to pay attention to how the healing happened. He had hardly, and I have to tell you, something is missing here in the shorthand recording, so the sentence is not complete. And I continue. That this man was cooked. His limbs were totally suffused with blood. He was sweating as if a bucket of water had been emptied over him. He felt the urge, and the lady told him to stand up. Then he stood up and walked. At that moment I was in another room. When I met him in the corridor, he embraced me hard. I have a head made of wood, and my limbs are also flexible, but it was a little too much. He is today in the best of health. I know what the truth is worth for me, he says. He visited his doctor, who was speechless. It is not my habit to praise myself, but when I know that such things happen on a daily basis, I can say that I am the happiest person. Last week, when I talked to health seekers, a young man fell down unconscious and was laid on a stretcher. When I had finished my speech, it was not really a speech, but a story, I asked about him. Then he said, "It is just like last year when you healed me." The year before, his father came to Traberov and let his son stay at home. As I had said, you just need to fetch the instruction and then it happens. It was just like that with this father. He brought a tinfoil ball for his son. It is only tinfoil. Gave his son the ball in his hand and told him what he had experienced there. Dad, about 8 o'clock, I felt the first thing, and I got another power shock, this time stronger. The first power shock he got when the father had the ball in Traberov. Now the father has healed his son, not me. The people sang and prayed. Now you pray too, my son, the Lord's Prayer 3 times, because Gröning does not want any thanks. But you owe a great thank you to the Lord. The young man did so, and when he had finished his prayer, he got up and walked, and is up until this day completely healthy. He can now walk, something he could not do back then. There are more cases like this. I can only say to man all the time, do not be angry with me for being healthy, and do not thank me. Thank our Lord. It is not my power. It is conveyed to me, a true divine power. If I had learned it from human beings, it would not be like this. I have, up until this day, not taken any human teachings into me. I have followed it for many years and have observed much about how I can help many people. No one can deny it, for many have been healed, and that is why it is right. I return to the radio, the receiver apparatus. You will never receive the wave quite right when you do not tune in right. It depends on the purity. Tune in at home. The same as here also happens there. There are also letters. I will not give you imaginations. Dr. Trampler, the things have happened. Therefore I will leave nothing untried in order to also help you onto the road where people receive help. It is wrong to say that I have healed. Some have said that Mr. Kuhlman has healed. The kind of healings that have happened here today has happened many times. For example, at Traberhof in Hereford, when I was not present, only Mr. Kuhlman, healings happened. He has said that I do a mass healing, and when the healing wave came, he hurried out onto the balcony, and then it happened. A lot happened. It is not a miracle, just a wondering for almost all those who have tanked. Mr. Kuhlman did the right thing when he said, "Not me, and not Gröning, the healing wave has healed. It is the divine power. Mr. Gröning rejects the thanks. You thank our Lord." Therefore, as a human being, I go from the standpoint I want to know all people are good, not only good in words. They promise so much and do not keep their promises. The good can only be proven in deeds. I can also get up before you and tell you the biggest thrilling adventures, and could prove nothing of it. It would be wrong, and then I would be the stupid one. But how good is it not that I do not use empty words? I can show them in deeds and actions. Those of you who followed the writings in the press while it was still positive, or heard something in the neighborhood, you will note that I do not tell thriller adventures. I do for sure not have to exaggerate. Then I would be a fraud, or that which I have already been called a quack. That is how it is when one knows a lot, has experienced a lot, then there is not much more to be said. Therefore I have only implied a little here, and you know it is true, or else you would not have come here so trusting. The basic condition is that man lays aside the evil, that which he up until now has been doing, and tries to be good. I repeat again and again, be kind and peaceful. It has also happened that a member of the family has come home, told the mother something bad, and she has taken it to her in such a degree that she gets sick and full of worries. It goes to the stomach. She can't eat. She's getting worse all the time. Therefore I always say, people are obliged to help another. Or when you find a person who is about to fall, that you at once give a hand and help him up. I help you. I will follow you a bit on your way, support you so it will be easier for you. Later you can walk by yourself alone. Man must know what it is all about. You cannot expect anything good from a mean person. You all know that when they have become satanic, they can do nothing good, only evil. They even steal. It is right, then, to have people that can help, like the police, who do all that they can to capture these persons. It is right to see to that they are removed and for some time are being taken away from the daily life, so that another person who is easily seduced or affected do the same. So that not another person who is easily seduced or affected do the same. There must be order. In his house, in his own house, the father, as far as he has the ability, ensures peace and order. In other cases, the mother makes sure that it happens. However, one has not thought that it can be persons who only want evil for his next. Just as I have noticed, people like that also want to take a healing away from a person. I say it again, also for such people, there must be a small place where they can be withdrawn from the healed or from the newly healed. I have also noticed this. The healing does not stay. However, those healed who have been able to not be influenced by those bad people, they have kept their healing a year or more. They knew how much the healing meant to them, and they knew how costly the illness was, and what they, as people, have failed to do because of their poor will. I do hope that you are satisfied with this short speech. I also hope that you have understood me, what my will is, and what my path is. I do not do this out of a wish for money or to get rich. If I wanted that, remember what kind of offers that have been offered to me. If I had taken those offers, I would have been a very rich person today. However, I have become very rich. The difference is only that I have become rich on power to help people. This last is so dear to me, and that is the road I will continue to walk. Now I end my short speech, and I wish you all the best for the rest of your lives. To be rich is to be healthy. Source: Bruno Gröning, Stiftung Archive.